So let's talk about something that's flowing all around us, usually right under our feet, but we almost never see it. It's a kind of hidden river, a river of sewage. And it has this massive, and I mean massive, impact on the health of our planet. In this explainer, we're going to break down what's really going on and why it matters so much. Let's just dive right in.
I mean, think about it. We all do it every single day, probably without a second thought. But that one simple act, it kicks off this incredible and sometimes really destructive journey. It connects every single one of us to a huge global environmental challenge. So where does it all actually go?
All right, so first things first, let's get on the same page about what we're even talking about. When we say sewage, it's way, way more than just what comes from our toilets.
What's really crucial to understand is that sewage is this incredibly complex cocktail. Yeah, it's the wastewater from our homes for sure, but then it gets combined with waste from entire cities, from industrial processes, you name it. It's this messy mix of organic stuff, chemicals, and even disease-causing pathogens all swirled together.
And you know, the sources are way more varied than you might think. You've got the obvious stuff, domestic wastewater from our houses. But then you zoom out to municipal sewage, which is the combined waste from a whole community. Then you add in industrial waste, and get this, even the stormwater that washes oil and gunk off our streets, it all goes into the mix. You start to see how this becomes such a huge challenge, right?
Okay, so now we know what sewage is. Let's pop the hood and really look at its anatomy. What are the specific ingredients in this recipe for trouble that make it so dangerous for our rivers, lakes, and oceans?
If you could look inside a single drop, this is what you'd find. You've got your main culprits, organic matter, food waste, human waste, all that. Then you have nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and these guys are a huge part of the story. And of course there are pathogens, toxic chemicals from detergents and industry, and just plain old solids. But for right now, let's focus on that very first ingredient, the organic matter.
To really get the impact of all that organic stuff, you've got to understand this one key idea, biochemical oxygen demand, or BOD. The easiest way to think about it is like this. BOD measures the appetite of all the tiny bacteria that are in the water to decompose waste. The more organic waste there is, the hungrier those bacteria get, and the more oxygen they have to breathe in to break it all down.
And that massive appetite for oxygen, well, that's what kicks off this powerful and destructive chain reaction. This is the real story of sewage pollution. It's an ecosystem cascade where one thing leads to the next, which leads to the next, and the consequences are devastating.
So, just picture it. Untreated sewage gets dumped into a river. For the bacteria that are already living there, it's like a massive all-you-can-eat buffet just open for business. This causes a huge population explosion of these decomposer bacteria, and they just get to work feasting on all that new organic material.
And this is how the oxygen literally just vanishes from the water. As all those bacteria start decomposing the waste, they're respiring, they're breathing, and they're sucking up enormous amounts of dissolved oxygen right out of the water. This leads to a rapid depletion. The oxygen levels just crash, and the result is tragic. It's suffocation. Fish, aquatic insects, anything that relies on that oxygen to breathe, they just can't survive anymore.
And the contrast here, wow, it's just night and day. On one side, you have a healthy, oxygen-rich ecosystem that's absolutely teeming with life. And on the other, you have the result of the pollution, a hypoxic or oxygen-starved environment. It becomes this foul, murky, dead zone where most life just can't be sustained. The difference couldn't be more stark. But wait, the problem doesn't even stop there. Remember those nutrients we mentioned earlier, nitrogen and phosphorus? They create a kind of second wave assault on the ecosystem called eutrophication. They act like a super fertilizer for algae, causing these massive explosions of growth, algal blooms, on the surface. But when that giant blanket of algae eventually dies and sinks, it also has to decompose. And guess what that process does? It consumes even more oxygen, making that dead zone below even bigger and even more deadly. It's a real double whammy.
Okay, so that's the problem, and it is a really serious one. But the good news is we have actually engineered some pretty incredible solutions to fight back. So let's pivot and talk about how we actively intervene to clean our water before it gets released back into the environment.
To get clean, wastewater has to run a three-stage gauntlet. First up is primary treatment. This is all physical. Think of it like a giant sieve, using screens and big tanks to let all the large solids settle out. Then comes secondary treatment, and this part is really clever. It's a biological process where we basically harness an army of good microbes to eat up the organic matter. We're managing that BOD before it can ever harm a river. And finally, there's tertiary treatment. This is the advanced high-tech stage that uses chemicals and fancy filters to remove the toughest stuff left, like those nutrients and specific toxins.
So yeah, cleaning the water is absolutely possible. But the real key to protecting our future is actually bigger than just the treatment plants themselves. It's about creating a whole system of prevention through really smart management.
So, what does a truly effective system actually look like? Well, it's about a lot more than just the technology. It means running those treatment plants at the highest possible standard. It means having strict environmental regulations to prevent pollution in the first place. It's about innovating to recycle and reuse water as the precious resource it is. And crucially, it's about raising public awareness so we all support these solutions.
You know, this quote from the source material really just nails it. It's not any single one of these things. It's the combination of all three: treatment, active management, and strong rules that lets us protect our most vital resource and keep our ecosystems in balance.
So, we'll end with this thought. The science here is clear. The engineering solutions, they exist. The challenge we're facing isn't really a technical one anymore. It's a question of our priorities, of investment, and of our collective will. It really asks us to think not just about what happens after we flush, but about what kind of world we truly want to leave behind.